What's up, guys?
Hello.
Welcome to
Hello.
episode 12 of Tea Time with Andre and Ty Peasant. I'm Andre,
I am the tired
and,
peasant.
and we got a special guest again, Provolone. What's up, Provolone?
Miss
Provolone.
Miss Provolone, or you can call me Lucci.
Lucy.
All right,
No,
all right,
Lucci, like Gucci.
Oh, okay.
Lucci. Okay. uh, uh, so how's it going on your Labor Day? On this
Um,
Labor Day?
I mean, it's going. I kind of slept all day. I woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't get back to sleep, so
Oh,
went
damn.
to bed.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
I was
Yeah.
working on Labor Day. How hypocritical's that?
I mean, the real Labor Day is in May. So,
Mayday, yeah.
Oh yeah,
what is Labor Day?
yeah.
I don't even know what the U.S. like Labor Day is because people work. So, I mean, not the
Yeah,
people you
Yeah, I know.
need.
understand.
Like the pharmacy's closed.
And schools are closed. Yeah, I don't
But the
Yes.
really
liquor
know.
store's open.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Um,
last time we talked about mutual aid and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I got a few questions for you.
ooh,
First
question.
first episode I wasn't prepared. This time I'm way more prepared now. So as I got to know you via the group chats and stuff. My first question is based on my observations. You know, try to organize on the left. I see that a lot of times, especially on Twitter, there's a lot of infiltrators and just plants. And and my question to you is, do you have any hope or optimism that the left will prove me wrong and just start organizing, like serious organize?
Well, that's um organizing has never been something that I'm really good at. Like I'm good with the mutual aid, but
Mm-hmm.
organizing movements, I don't know. I feel like we need leadership. We really need leadership, but I think I briefly mentioned last time and I'll say it again that my generation might not do this. We're like not there. But I look at my
Okay.
kids and I feel like there's no question. There's no
Oh, yeah.
question. No
Generation
question.
Alpha.
Yeah.
And yeah, and Gen Z is a lot doing better. Like I'm a millennial. I feel like Gen Z is, especially the younger half of Gen Z and Gen Alpha, like they're not having this.
Oh, yeah.
They can
Gen
see it,
Alpha. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
and I
yeah.
feel like you have a lot more leftist parents in my generation raising their kids and telling them like, hey, do you see these contradictions, um and of course, like the more you heighten those contradictions and highlight those contradictions for people, the more likely they are to understand and see things, you
Mm-hmm.
know but when we talk about people infiltrating movements, like that's a really difficult thing because it's hard not to sound like a conspiracy theorist. Like when you look at,
Yeah.
somebody doing something and talking in a group where it's like they clearly are trying to cause a problem in a movement and trying to disrupt solidarity. And like, if you try to say, like, I think this person might be a Fed or like just an op, like, you immediately sound crazy. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to point that out without sounding,
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
like,
a
oh,
conspiracy.
the CIA is infiltrating my Twitter
Yeah.
spaces. Like, you sound nuts.
They're at
So,
my door.
but it's a real thing. It is a real thing. Like we all know, we all know about what happened to Fred Hampton. Like, and
Yeah.
you have to look at that and say, like, this is real declassified information. This is documented by these government agencies themselves that this is what they tried to do. That this is their MO when they see a movement rising up that is actually gaining traction. They will send people to infiltrate and they will send people to try to cause disruptions so that there is no solidarity, because solidarity is like their biggest threat.
Yeah, they don't want people coming together.
And they know this. They know that. So like that, and that, like, I feel like I sound crazy even when I
Right.
say it to people, and I'm like, please go look at, you can go on an FBI website yourself and look at their own information, because this is true. Like, that's not, a crazy conspiracy theory. That really happened. So of course it's still going on. I don't know if we're any closer today than we were in the 70s to a real movement, but it's definitely a lot easier for them to do now, because if all you need is a Twitter account and a couple hundred followers to
Then
start
you're
a
good.
fight, I actually had an experience myself, which I don't know if we talked about the last time, but I feel like we might have. But this was on Facebook, and they tried very hard to dismantle that mutual aid group that I have, which is up to like 3,000 members now.
That's awesome.
But at the time, they were
Good.
accusing me of racism, which there was no basis for, but they were making this accusation and demanding that I step down from running this group, and saying that they would call out any and everybody who didn't unfriend me and try to
I hate when people do
they
that shit.
specifically asked for me to be deplatformed.
Yeah.
And so I stepped down. At that time, I stepped down, and I was like, I'm going to step down because I don't want this project to be affected by this. But so I did step down at the time, and then I came back after things kind of blew over. But I 100% believe still to this day that was some sort of disruptive campaign, that these were not normal people.
Yeah, they wanted to stop any
obviously.
positivity.
Because you can't call yourself a socialist or a communist and then try to dismantle an actual mutual aid group that is helping people. That doesn't make sense. Just because you want to see, you want to make sure that this person who, let's say I did say something racist, like even if I did, like, why would you try to dismantle the group itself? Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. My second question to you is, why do you think people, particularly those on the left on Twitter, I'm just gonna say Twitter because I'm mostly on there, are often reluctant to participate in mutual aid initiatives, like some simple like retweeting the post? Like, why do you think they just don't want to do it?
I think that it's a concern when you, especially if you're trying to build a following, that if every post of yours is asking for help, if all you do is retweet mutual aid and you're not getting, you're not engaging, people are being funny or saying something smart, you're not going to go viral with a mutual aid tweet, right? Like,
right. Yeah.
So the way that Twitter works, obviously there's an algorithm, and you will not be seen on Twitter if you don't tap into that algorithm. So you have got to say things that are engaging people, and you have to, know how often can I tweet a mutual aid without people getting tired of seeing me. So I think that's a factor for sure. And I think there's a lot of confusion among everyone in the left about what a scammer is.
Yes, there's so much. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And whether or not you should believe someone's story, I think that people tend to retweet something that kind of calls out to them. Like, I'll say about my own personal experience, that when I had a GoFundMe for my son in the hospital waiting for a heart transplant, we got tens of thousands of dollars worth of donations. Some person on Twitter, and if you're watching now, and I hope you are, we love you deeply, donated $1,000. Someone I didn't know. Like those big donations started coming in like crazy, because this is a child in the hospital. But then, people will retweet if they're, particularly sensitive to a certain situation.
Yeah.
And then, there's other times where all I need is $5. I just need $5 and I can't get it, because whatever problem I'm going through is not a big deal. I want a soda and I can't get $5. Like, so that's, though which is valid. It's fine, but I think,
Yeah.
yeah, as far as engagement and those things go, it's like we feel kind of helpless too. I know I do
Mm-hmm.
when I see all these mutual aid posts, and I'm like, I don't bother retweeting it sometimes because that day maybe I need help and I'm not getting it, and I'm looking at it and going, well,
Yeah.
I'm not getting much engagement anyway, so
I get it.
what's
Yeah.
the point? And we feel like we can't help. Like, I know all my
Yeah.
friends are broke, or I have so many friends who need help today, you know, and so it just kind of feels like overwhelming, and it feels like there's nothing I can do for this person. So I think it's those two things, and Twitter is, it's a good place to get your mutual aid seen, but only if you're able to get someone, and this is totally true because Liz, when you retweet something of mine, it makes a huge difference. And it's
Oh,
like,
really?
Mine
yeah,
too.
like if on that
Yeah.
day you're fighting with people, and I swear to God, like I've noticed this and like made note of it. If you're having fights with people and you retweet something of mine, all of a sudden I get donations. Where if it's a day where you're quiet on Twitter and you don't have as much engagement, like maybe that tweet won't get seen. So yes, this is just, what it's like living under the rule of the algorithm, basically.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
100%.
anything I can do to help you guys, I will.
Yeah.
Of course, and you
Yeah.
always do, but sometimes, like, there's days where, I tweet something and suddenly someone sends me a couple $100, like, out of nowhere, someone I never met. And then there's days where like I said, I can't get $5. And
Yes.
I
Same
think
here.
I think
Yes.
the time of the week also has an effect. Like, I've noticed if you tweet mutual aid on a Friday, you're more likely to get your donations because people are getting paid on Friday. They have their money. The end of the month is more difficult. And these are all just things that I've kind of picked up working in mutual aid for so long on the group that I have, that, it really does make a difference that you're tweeting this at times of day and times of the week when people are, number one, going to see it. Like on a Saturday night, you're not going to get much engagement. But on a Friday at 5 o'clock, you might get a ton of engagement just in that 1 hour.
Yeah,
So
Mm-hmm.
for me, I just like, I don't know, like I say my story, like whatever's happening. That's why like I put in my pin tweet, I just put like, if you want to throw me a bone, you know, of a mutual aid, I'm just like, okay, I'm telling you who I am. I'm a working class person just trying to get by. Like I pay all my bills, but like I don't have extra for the groceries and stuff like that. And sometimes it's sad because I feel sorry for the people that also need mutual aid. And a lot of people are hesitant to share their post, or not necessarily share, but they are afraid to donate because they don't have a personal experience. Like, and I know some people like to help me because they have a personal experience, and I'm not doing it to get mutual, like I'm not doing it to get money. That's just what I do. I just try to like be as real as I can on Twitter. Like I just try to be myself. I just try to tell people what I'm actually doing every like second of the day. I use it as a diary. But I just feel bad for the people that don't want to do that, and they just really also need help. So it's like,
I think an
yeah.
important thing for people to understand, one thing that is super important that people don't realize, and I really think this is a big deal, is if you have $1 and you donate $1, that actually is really helpful. Because if I had you tweet something and everyone who retweeted it, like I've had you retweet something and it gets 50 retweets in an hour, that's 50 people. If you had $1 and you sent $1, I'm way above and beyond what I asked for, you know? So like dollars do help is something that I think people really need to get. And I think, yeah, I mean, like when we talk about, like I said, about scammers or people being like, I'm not really in need as much as this other person, like every need is valid. You
Yeah,
know
it
what I
doesn't matter
mean?
what it is. Like some people
Yeah.
think that, your mutual aid should just be like, if my lights are getting shut off, like my lights are getting shut off, like I need money right now. Okay, yeah, that's definitely a dire situation. But I don't like how people think like it's a scam if someone's like asking for money for pizza or just like a soda or just like something you want. Like that's what mutual aid
If
is about. Like
yeah, I think if
if
you
you're
are
able to,
able
yeah,
in any way to offer someone and you send $2 to this person and you're able to offer them, number one, a little bit of peace in their life because
yeah,
they need this thing. They need a
Yeah.
break, whatever it is.
Yeah.
everyone
They need
deserves
that
a
thing.
break.
And number two, getting that $2 donation from someone you've never met might give you just the slightest sense that you're not alone, that someone
Exactly.
gives a shit. And that makes a huge difference too, I think. Even if you're not able to meet your goal that day, that there were people
I wanted
who
to
did
help you.
something, who saw that you needed help and did something. I think that that's a very big deal. And when I want to bring it back to what Andre was saying about infiltrators on the left and infighting and,
Hmm.
you
I
know,
gotta get
whether
my
or not people
charger.
are
I'm
willing.
listening. I'm
I,
listening. Gotta get my charger.
I think when
Okay.
it comes to trying to radicalize somebody who is not radicalized, one of the biggest things to show them is that there are people willing to help them. I think that
Hmm.
that makes a huge difference in their comprehension of how people really are and how society works, is that we're actually all really kind and really helpful and we will do it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like if you're
Oh yeah.
literally able to. Like I had a fight with someone on Twitter because they were like, "Oh, you shouldn't help people or this and that." And I'm just like, and he was like, "Oh, he was like, I want you to go on fucking live with a cigar, and then I'll give you $5." I'm like, "Keep your $5,
Oh, was
bitch.
this the guy
The
who
usual shit is
the who,
that
yeah, he was
motherfucker."
telling me to do a house tour. Right. Like this is,
Wow.
I mean, those people, I gotta say, Liz, like sometimes the engagement you get on your tweets, and this is the thing, you have a big following, so you're gonna get a lot of trash engagement on your tweets. These are people who are riding your coattails.
Yeah,
They're
riding my ass.
they're riding your coattails. Like they are literally using your follower base to build up their own follower base, and they're what we would call trolls. Like they're not, they're not serious people. Like that person was insisting they own 3 businesses. They're 22 years old.
Oh, that other motherfucker. Yeah.
Right. And that's the kind of thing where I'm like, who even first of all, if that's true, good for you. But why are you, like you have time to sit and criticize this woman for talking about how food is expensive? Like what's wrong with you?
Yeah, like that's what I'm trying to tell
Crazy.
people at mutual aid is, if you have money to spare, that's why I always say, like, for my mutual aid, I'm like, any amount helps. Like, literally, if you send me $1, I'm grateful. If you send me $5, I'm grateful. It doesn't matter
But
the
the
amount.
more you engage with an account like that, the more you're sending people to look at their tweets. I would totally just shut that down. I would delete
I
those. Like I
know.
just wouldn't even
Travis told me
interact.
to do, my boyfriend, he told me to do the same thing, like, to just
Yeah.
ignore. But
You have
sometimes,
to, because you're giving them engagement, you are letting them into the algorithm
but
when you
sometimes
do that.
my Latina anger cannot help that.
You know how upset I get when people call you an angry Latina, so please don't. Yeah, I'm not. Someone called her that once and I lost my mind. So
I
that's
mean,
like,
I
maybe
am. I'm
it's
very
because
passionate.
I'm Sicilian. I get angry, like, I might shoot somebody, but that it doesn't matter. Nobody can say that to us.
Yeah, I
But
just get. Sometimes I want to ignore, but then
every time you
I get a
share it
little
with me, I end
rage.
up commenting. Like if you send it to me, I end up engaging. And now here I am doing the same thing. But I try very hard to say things that I know people on our side or people who aren't trolls will respond to, and they'll see that and feel a little bit better. So like my argument with that guy was, why should the level of skill that your labor takes determine the value of your labor? He doesn't understand what I'm saying. I know that. I don't give a shit because I didn't say it for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do think, like I said, mutual aid and helping people is one of the greatest ways to tap into people who aren't willing to listen.
Exactly.
You know,
That's why, yeah, I told the person, I'm like, "What's the definition of a scammer to you?" He didn't want to respond. I think it's probably because his definition is someone that asks for like something to make them happy. Like it could be anything. That's in other
so
people's eyes, that's considered a scam, which is stupid.
one thing that I would say to them is that most likely, if they're in this country, they're one paycheck away from being homeless like everyone else.
Yes,
And
health.
that
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I would say, you may not need help now, but you might one day. And I just want you to know, despite everything you're saying to me, I'll still help you.
exactly. Because that's what a
Yeah.
comrade's about. If you have,
And
you
so
know,
letting them know, like, hey, you know what? That's okay because we are still going to have your back if you need it. That's all you can say. And it's important for everyone else to see that that's your response, I think. It's really important that your actual real followers who do love you are hearing that and
for
seeing
sure.
that.
8.
100.
Uh, you kept that 100.
On
I
Skibbity.
got a I got one
Did you
last
say
question for you.
skibbity? Skibbity toilet? I hear
um,
that all the time from my kids.
one last question. Do you think you'll be interested in like being a part of a mutual aid live stream? I thought about this yesterday.
Oh, that'd be
Like
cool.
me and Ty Peasant will host it for like 4 hours or something on like a Wednesday or something when she's off of work. Like you could come on and just
Would you like to be a part of
push
that?
out
Absolutely.
comrades.
100%. That's that's what I do with my spare time. So, like, yeah,
So we need that. We need that in the network. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
you can do to use your base of followers to do things like that, I think that's a huge, and that's like been my driving behind trying to get a following and trying to be
yeah.
a bigger voice on social media is 100% trying to build mutual aid because I know how much it has saved my life. It has literally been
It saved my life too. Ow.
literally life saving, and I mean in the most basic terms. When I say life saving, like, I don't know if I would still be here if not for people's help. So that is something 100% I'd be willing to do that. Like, what else would I do with my day?
Yeah, like for mutual aid for
Based.
me, like I don't, I wouldn't be able to eat sometimes because I can't afford food stamps. So mutual aid has really helped my
It
children.
drives me insane that you don't get food money. That makes me crazy. Like,
Yeah,
I'm always like, wait, you don't? Because I work, but I get a lot of money for my kids, and I feel like it's because we're in different states. So because New York is a lot easier.
Yeah, like I'm in the borderline of the poverty line. So apparently 1665 is like it's I can't
But you
get
have two
food
kids,
stamps.
don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that for three people, it's like over 2,000 for a person, and then like they factor in your rent and everything else. So it's like
They get Medicaid, but like I get a quick like response saying that I don't qualify for food stamps.
it's unbelievable to me because if you
that's
qualify
crazy.
for Medicaid in New York, you qualify for food stamps, like at least something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not in Florida. Yeah, it's fucked up. So they thankfully they get Medicaid, so I don't have to worry about that. But the food stamps, it's I wish I
I
got
have
it,
a message to
but
send you about that, by the way. I will soon. But yeah, that's, to me, the fact that there are people who are not qualifying for food money when they need food money, when they're single moms, like, single mom in itself you should just automatically, like, it doesn't, I don't even care what you make. If you are a
yeah,
single dad,
yeah. I'm
a
not. Yeah,
single
I get it. I'm
person
not
taking
single, but
care.
I'm a mom
Well, you know what I
that's doing
mean.
it alone.
When I
Yeah,
say single, I
yeah,
mean,
Yeah,
okay, so when I say a single parent, I mean the other parent is not contributing.
no, yeah. He's really
So,
not. He's really not. Oh,
and you look at single parents like me where, the kid's father is in prison. He's never getting out. And if he's in prison, he cannot pay child support. And the government doesn't, look at that and say, well, here's a parent who can't get any child support no matter what happens. And throw us an extra help, like they just look at that and go, well, I guess you shouldn't have married that guy. And which is awful. I mean, especially if you're going to throw black men in jail for things they didn't do and keep them, years in prison before even going to a trial. Like, that's years worth of income that is not going to these kids, and the kids are innocent of that. Like, that has nothing to do with me or him. It's them. Like, why should they not have, why should they be worried about where their next meal is coming from? And having your kids do that, having your kids come to you and say, are we going to have enough money for dinner, is one of the worst feelings. Like, I there's just nothing worse than having to look at a kid and say, please don't worry about it. I'm going to figure it out.
I try to tell them, like, don't worry about it. Mommy always, figures it out.
But sometimes figuring out means stealing their dinner. Like, that's literally
do what you got to do.
I mean, I've done that. I've definitely had to really put myself in a position of, where I'm stealing food to feed them. And that's something, then you run into these criticisms. Like, you'll talk about this right online and people will be like, oh, but you were drinking the other day, or you were smoking. Like, I'll smoke cigarettes.
I hate that shit.
Obviously I have money for that, and it's like,
yeah.
Someone said that because I had a Halloween cup. Oh, you got money for a Halloween cup? Why are you asking for mutual aid? I'm like, so poor people can't have any hobbies. Okay, one thing about me, I love collecting horror stuff. Like, I don't have a lot.
But how do they know that you didn't buy a Halloween cup for $1 at a thrift store?
Yeah, it was literally $5.
Or, like, someone will talk about someone's engagement ring. Like, they have this expensive engagement ring. Well, maybe at the time that I got that ring, things weren't bad, or having an iPhone. Like, exactly. I have an iPhone. I got it for free. Like,
I was all, like, fucked up.
Yeah. I didn't pay my food money for a fucking iPhone. Like, that's just, it's just easier to get certain things.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all cracked and cracked.
Yeah, I see that. Man. Okay. Yeah.
Hello, 300 viewers.
What's up? Yeah, guys, be sure on the bottom of the ticker, donate to, I guess, Provolone.
Provolone.
Lucci. Yep. Okay, Provolone, got some quick questions. I do this for all my guests.
Okay.
What 5 dinner guests you would invite? They could be either dead or alive.
Oh my gosh. That's really hard. Oh my God. You should have told me this before, because I would have put some thought into it.
Oh, yeah, I should have.
5 dinner guests, dead or alive. I had a really good time talking to Thomas Sankara on Chat GPT, and I promised him I'd have lunch with him because he didn't know he was dead. So I would invite him to dinner.
Okay.
Thomas Sankara. Fred Hampton's on my list. Was that 2?
Good choice.
So we've got Sankara and Hampton so far. Hold on, give me 2 seconds. Talk amongst yourselves. Let me think.
You good?
Sankara, Hampton. I don't know, maybe Stalin. Maybe I'd like to have dinner with Lenin or Stalin. It's either Lenin or Stalin. So we got 3. Okay. And then these are all communist leaders. I'm not, like, big on, I wouldn't have celebrities at my dinner party. Oh gosh, who's that economics professor? Chris Hedges?
Yeah, Chris Hedges.
Him I'd be interested in having to debate with Sankara and Lenin and Hampton. So that's 4. And then Liz.
Me?
I invite Liz. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
We need some spice and fun at this party. So we'd be there for, the entertainment and debate with these great minds. That would work.
We could have a smoke session too.
Mm-hmm. I ate a gummy before this stream, so
nice.
I was prepared.
Cool. I just haven't been
um,
because I've been sick, but I can't wait. This one we're good.
okay. What are your favorite comfort foods?
Spaghetti and meatballs,
Oh my god, I love
pizza.
spaghetti
Ooh,
meatballs.
I mean,
I got
anything,
some.
any Italian food, like, I'm Sicilian, so those are the foods I grew up with. Those are my, what I remember cooking on a Sunday in my house. Not pizza, but pizza is definitely a comfort food.
Oh, it's my comfort food too. I love pizza.
And fried chicken and mashed potatoes. I don't know what it is about fried chicken and mashed potatoes, but that will soothe my soul on any day.
Oh yeah, sound good.
Um,
Um,
I I was looking at the comments. Oh, sorry, you're gonna ask another question. There's nobody. Nobody's sending any fucking comments. Okay, people,
yeah,
what the fuck?
yeah.
Wow,
Say
no
so.
comments?
No comments.
I
Come
guess
on now,
Three
we're
everything
hundred
I'm
twenty.
saying
live.
is correct then.
We're live over here. I'm in my fucking bed. This is like a one-time
Somebody
exclusive.
Yeah,
Come
come tell
on.
me I'm an asshole. Like, start some shit in the
I
comments.
know.
What's
I'm
up?
ready. I'm
I
fucking
know. I
pumped.
know. I know.
Fuck.
um.
Let me
Okay.
promote it.
Okay. My next question is: where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
Dead.
Me too. No, I'm just kidding.
It's true. I don't think I'm gonna make it another 10 years. I don't know.
Me
It's
either.
hard right now.
Me either.
I don't I don't think much about that, Andre, because I think for me, this is hard to say. Like, no one's gonna like hearing this. I have a sick kid. I don't 100% know that he is gonna still be here in 10 years.
Oh,
So that is a huge factor in my thoughts about the future. I think is
Understandable.
what's gonna happen with him. Um, and then, so mostly my thoughts go to where my kids are going to be in 10 years. I think, like, I don't think that much about my own life because I'm already 41 and I kind of feel like if I was going somewhere else, it would have happened by now. But most
So
likely,
young though.
I'll still be here on Twitter talking shit, posting memes, and, you know, that's about it. Like, I really don't expect anything
okay.
super interesting to happen in my life besides my kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Last question. Which person will you want to see on Tea Time? But you gotta convince them to come on to the show.
Mm, Ben. God, what is his?
Longwater?
Yes.
Bungwater.
Ben.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
He's
Tell him we'll
Yeah.
he's
have a
been
smoke test.
he's been a dear friend of mine for a while now. And I'm gonna say like 3 or 4 years on Twitter where we talk every day. He doesn't have a huge following, but he's pretty amazing. So
Yeah, I
I would
follow him.
definitely
He's
like to
cool.
see him
Yeah.
get some exposure because he's
Yeah. Oh yeah.
wonderful.
I think
Okay.
I've known you, Provolone, since 2021, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
And
I definitely remember you being, yeah, we were definitely in group chats and stuff around the time when my son was back for his second transplant, which was 2021. So that's kind of like everything is before and after that in my head. So I know, yeah, 2020, we knew each other.
yeah,
Okay.
it's so crazy. It's like we've all kind of known each other for a while.
Yeah, it's really crazy to me, like having friends that I have known for years that like I trust, I trust you. I trust these people. We talk about like some of our most important things going on in our life and we live all over, we have people in the group chats from different countries, different parts of the world, and we've known
Interstate.
each other for years and like know each other's, stuff we don't tell our families sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
Yeah, for sure. This is
Yeah.
why I say like I hate when people say Twitter's not real life. Like we're real people right now, real stories. The only thing
No,
that's
I
keeping
have
us apart is this computer. So
Twitter has been an opportunity for me to meet people who are connected to my children's indigenous roots, get them involved with my kids, get them involved with raising my kids. So there's actually people who I've met online who are in my kids' contacts on their phone,
Nice.
you
Yeah.
know, who
That's dope.
help me in the process of, raising these kids, unlearning colonial mindset, everything like that. And
Yeah.
that's a
Like
huge
Twitter.
deal. And
Yeah,
my
Twitter.
name,
Yeah.
Lucci, is something that I just kind of shared with everyone this week, that I chose, my chosen kind of non-binary name.
Love
And the
it.
first people I told was my Twitter group chat. So, before I spoke with my family, I was like, I knew what I want my name to be. And so, yeah, it's definitely, you can build a family on
It's
there,
a
a
good
community.
experience. Yeah, like Twitter
Yeah.
has changed my life for the better. Like
Hmm.
I don't know what I would do without it. So it's changed my life in like really big ways.
Definitely. Like, you're important to me. You're someone that I care about. And I only know you from there, but it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, Provolone. Oh, this was fun. I hope we do this again real soon. Oh, we're gonna do the mutual aid thing, so we'll do it again.
Definitely let me know about that. I'll be
Oh
there.
yeah, I got it. All right.
Like a telethon kind of thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'm always when are you guys like free? I'm like free to do like a longer telethon on Tuesday nights. I
I work, what I do for a living is like Amazon Flex delivery. So I choose my shifts. So
oh
it's
nice.
like, you guys let me know and I'll be
Cool.
there.
Okay.
Um,
For sure.
yeah, as long as I know, and we can, pick out things to highlight during it, or whatever you want to do.
Mhm.
You just let me know, and I can help come up with a program type of thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I want. Yeah. Yeah. That'd be dope.
We want that, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good idea, and it might be something. Like I said, Fridays are really good. The beginning of the month is really good. So
Yeah.
if you're able to, like, I don't know, even if we do live, like, you can, if it's shared on a Friday, and
Yeah, I could
there's
do it on a Friday. There'll just be some kids in the background, that's all.
my kids are here. They can hear all this. My kids are here.
No.
They're just quiet because they're teenagers.
Yeah.
Mines are really, really loud and they'll they're very, very opinionated. Like my daughter, she doesn't take shit from anybody. She's fine.
That's good. That's a good thing. I mean, it's difficult as a mom, but
Does your kids get along? Because
um,
mines don't. Sometimes
they
they
get
do,
along.
sometimes they don't.
No, they get along. It's something, they've always been really close, and it's a tricky thing when you have a kid who's sick, because when one kid is always in the hospital, other kid kind of
Oh,
gets
there you go.
the other
What
kid
happened?
kind of gets left out. So you'll
Hmm.
have one kid that's like always looking for attention, you know? And
Yeah.
so that my kid who is not sick is always antagonizing the other kid. So, like, they don't get along in that respect, but at the same time, I totally trust them, like, alone with each other.
Yeah.
So, like, they're not going to hurt each other at all. They're just
That's good.
brothers. I mean,
Yeah. My kids, I don't know. Maybe it's just like the sibling thing.
they're
They're always
young.
fighting.
They're young,
Yeah.
like, they're little. Like, it takes time for them to learn how to deal with each other
Yeah,
and
they're
get
3 years.
along.
They're 3 years apart. My daughter's like always telling my son, she's like, "You're ugly." I'm like, and then I say, "You're calling yourself ugly because you literally look alike." So,
Yeah,
um,
my kids are 13 and 10. Like, they don't, my 13-year-old doesn't talk to anybody. He's just on his phone all the time. Like, you know,
yeah. And
which is, it's
my
fine.
8 year yeah, my 8 year old is always gaming on Xbox. So
Yeah, he's always gaming, making art, talking to his friends, whatever he's doing, but he doesn't bother like, he's not that interested in interacting so much with his brother right now, cuz that's the age they're at. So,
I guess I'll give them time. I guess, and I'll say that for my kids too. I
when
guess
they
I'll
get
give.
older, they stop fighting so much. I will tell you that.
Yeah, I just don't want them to be like when they're older and not talk to each other. Like I see some siblings, like I don't really talk to my sister. So
I think that's normal for their teenage years, especially if like they're a couple years apart. You have one who's like going through puberty and like interacting with their friends one way, and the other one who's still a little kid, you know. So then they kind of drift apart from each other, and then when they get older, they come back together.
Yeah.
You know, as long as there's
Yeah.
like an understanding in your family of how to be family and take care of each other, like what's really
Oh
important.
yeah. Like they curse at each other, like call each other names, but I'm telling you, when they go to school inside the school building, they're both holding hands. And then my son always makes sure that she gets into kindergarten, like to the door. So it's like,
You have it made, Liz. I'm telling you now, like that's a good sign for everything to come with the two of them because he cares about her.
yeah, they curse at each other. They're like, "Fuck you, no, fuck you." And they're really cursing and hitting each other. But then as soon as they go to in school, he knows what he has to do to take his sister to the class, and they
The
give each
worst
other a
thing
hug.
is
So
when they get older, when they're bigger than you and they start fighting and you can't stop them.
yeah,
Like
because the pediatrician said they're both going to be like 6 foot. So I'm like, oh fuck.
my kids are both taller than me and heavier than me, and I can't, if they fight each other, there's nothing I can do. Like
What's up to
I
say?
can't
How do
stop
you
them.
handle that?
They don't do it. They just don't. And there's something, I don't know what it is, but there's just something when I'm like, stop it, that they stop. Like I guess it's just mom thing. Like
The mom, I do the mom voice. The
people
mom
always
voice. You
told
know
me that
that.
I didn't discipline my kids enough. People have, especially
Oh, they
men
tell me that too.
in my life, that I don't discipline them enough, that I don't have, they're not scared of me, so I don't have control. But I've never believed that they need to be scared of me. They don't. They respect me
Exactly. Yeah.
because I treat them like people. And I,
Same, I do that with my kids too. That's why I'm going no contact with my mom because she's like, you do parenting shitty, like you don't discipline them enough. You're letting your 5 year old like speak out of line because
mm-hmm.
my daughter didn't want my mom was touching her hair
Liz, my
and
kid, my 10-year-old calls me ho every time he talks. He's like, I'll be like, are you, did you put your garbage away? And he'll be like, ho, are you fa la la? And I'm like, who are you talking to? But it's okay
Oh,
because when there's really something serious and I'm like, no, you need to do this, like he does it. I don't
same
care.
mine too. Like my daughter, she's like, okay, gay mom. Like I'm like, I'm not
Right.
even gay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's fine.
My
It's not a
son's
big
like,
deal. And I have ripped family out of our lives too, because if I felt like they didn't treat us like family, I said, I don't want my kids to think this is how family acts.
oh
So
yeah, I do the same thing. I cut all that family, toxic family. They're out of their lives. So
that's the most important thing. And as long as they know, I think the most important thing is that your kids know that you love them. They know that
yeah,
you're
and I
there
don't
for
hide
them,
shit, and I don't hide shit from them.
and they
Like,
feel comfortable talking to you. That's a huge thing. When they become a teenager and they start doing shit that they know that they're not supposed to do, that they're willing to come to you and say, okay, I did something stupid. Like that's a very
yeah,
big deal.
yeah, I think it's a good sign too for my son. Like, my son was funny. He has this Xbox Messenger, whatever. He was like messaging his friend, and he was like, "Mom, do you work today?" I'm like, "No, I'm off." He was like, "Oh shit, don't read my messages." I'm like, "Why would you say that?" He was like, "Don't read my messages." I'm like, "I'm not." And then an hour later, he's like, and he told me what it is. He said some funny joke, and I'm in my mind, I'm like, "Oh, he didn't have to tell me what it was, but I guess he felt comfortable with, and I
Exactly.
respected. Yeah,
I don't feel like I have to check my kids' stuff. I feel like they're very open with me.
yeah, mine are too.
My son came to me last night and told me that in his like Discord server they were sharing videos of a guy who was posting online pretending to be a kid, like, and
Oh,
had posted some disturbing stuff, and he was upset by it, but he came to me and told me, and I was, of course, like, did you block this person? And he's like, I don't know this person, I'm upset because of my friends. It was like he was more concerned about them, and it's like, I'm glad the kids have a good head on their shoulders and they're concerned about their friends and they're coming to me being open about this stuff, because that's something I would not have told my mom.
oh yeah, my mom still doesn't know anything about really about my life. I only give her like crumbs, like, but I'm like
There were
that little
bad
ex.
things that happened to me as a teenager, and I didn't tell anybody because
Same,
my
same,
mother made me feel like if something bad happened, it was because I did something stupid. So, like, that was,
same.
that was an important thing to me raising my kids, is to make sure that they don't ever feel like something bad happening is their fault, and that they can come to me and talk to me about anything. So they sometimes tell me stuff I don't want to know.
Yeah, same. My kids tell me everything, and I don't tell my mom nothing because my mom always made me feel very uncomfortable. She always wanted me to dress up as Britney Spears. Like, you should be more like one of those teenagers that goes out and does this and does that. And I
Oh
just wanted
yeah,
to be in
that's
my
how I
room.
developed an eating disorder. With my mother, like, are you really going to wear that? Do you really need to eat that? All this toxic. And in her mind, just to make it clear, she really believed she was doing what was best for me. Like, she really
Same
thought she
one
was
with my mom
protecting me.
too. Like,
And the lipstick, the red lipstick, the first time I got caught with red lipstick on, my mother pulled up on me in her car in front of all my friends and grabbed me and was like calling me a whore and all this shit,
oh my
just because of
gosh.
lipstick.
Oh
And
wow.
so then, at that time, I think I was like 13 or 14. At that time, when boys started doing things that were not appropriate to me, I didn't tell her because she had called me those names. And I thought, well, I guess she's going to think, because I wear red lipstick, like, that's why this happened. And that, or I'm have cleavage, and that's why that happened. And I shouldn't have been alone with those boys. And
That's fucked
and
up.
those are really terrible things to do to a kid. I think it's like a huge deal as a mother.
Yeah, it's like some things I would never say to my kids. Like, I remember being like 16 walking home and I was like with my mom, and then there's like a lot of people beeping the horn at me. And I was like, oh, I don't like that. And my mom's like, oh. And she
But
turned
then
around.
you
I
shouldn't
still
be dressed
remember.
that way. Then you shouldn't be,
Yeah, my mom
and
was like,
it's
oh, be mad when they stop beeping the horns at you. I'm just
that's
like,
disgusting.
I know it is. She's like, be upset when they stop doing it. I'm like, I'm a fucking, in my mind, I'm like, I'm a kid.
So this
But
happened to
okay.
me like recently. I was working for Shipped, so I was doing like Target orders, and I'm in Target working, shopping, and a man came up to me, just walked right up to me, and he was young and good looking, and he was like, I just want you to know that you're beautiful. And at first I smiled and was like, oh, thank you, but then he started, are you married? And I immediately was like, yes, I am. And it's like, I don't, I'm single. But like when that man started asking me if I was married, I immediately felt like I had to say yes,
Yeah,
because
you're
now
scared.
I feel like my sense of safety is being threatened. Now I feel like you're overstepping your boundaries, and
Yeah.
you want me to tell you whether or not I'm married, because if I'm not, it's okay for you to follow me around this store.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
fucking scary.
and
It
it
scared
and
me.
at the same time, it's like I'm overweight, I'm in my 40s, I'm a single mom, I have a sick kid, like there's all types of factors that would make me want to be like, do I appreciate someone telling me I'm beautiful in the middle of the day? Yes. But then when he went on past that, it was like, now I don't feel safe. So, those are when you tell me about your mom saying like, oh, be upset when they stop, like, I'm sorry, but being old and a single mom and having all kinds of problems with money and being overweight and every other factor in my life still doesn't make me want a man to follow me around Target.
Yeah, that's fucking scary. I don't want anyone to beep. Like, I didn't like that.
No, and especially when you're a child, like, that would happen to me when I was 12 years old. The beeping and people pulling over and offering me rides like
Yes.
that,
Oh my God, me too. Like, do you want to ride? Think good. Well, my mom never taught me anything, but my intuitions just said don't do it.
But then
So,
because of that, because of my mother's attitude about it, when situations did happen where I accepted a ride home from a coworker, and then that coworker sexually assaulted me, I felt like, oh, I shouldn't have accepted the ride, you know, and that happened because I shouldn't have been with him, or why didn't I know that was going to happen? All types of
yeah.
things that make a woman feel like it's her own fault.
No, it's
When
not.
really, like, offering me a ride home doesn't mean you're entitled to touch me. And you know, so like I think, you know, like I said, just teaching my kids that, first of all, consent is about what you want.
Yes. I teach my kids about consent.
You shouldn't, I never told them you shouldn't have sex until you're married. You shouldn't have sex until you're old enough. You shouldn't have sex until you're in love. None of that. You shouldn't have sex until you feel like you're going to explode if you don't. That's my answer to that. It's like, when you feel like you have to do it, do it. But like, I think that's realistic, and I think they're going to do that anyway, because I remember being
Regardless,
a
yeah.
teenager and I did what I wanted to do. So,
Regardless,
like,
yeah.
I don't think we need to say these really restrictive things to our kids. I think it's a lot better to be open to them exploring the same way we did, but to make sure that they feel like you're going to hear them and understand them if they come to you to talk about their experience, and understand that, they're going to do things you don't want them to do, whether try to stop them or not. They're going to reach a point in their lives where they decide what they're doing, and you
Yeah,
will
they're
not
their own
have any
person.
say in it. And so your choice is they can have sex in the back of a car with no birth control and no protection, or they can do it at home safely where they've seen a doctor, they've taken care of themselves, and you are helping them navigate that world. So, like, those are your choices. You can be comfortable with it, or you can make your kid feel like they can't talk to you.
Yeah, basically be a safe space for your children. Like you want
100%.
them to come and talk to you about whatever. That's why I always say, like, I
And
don't
that's
care
and
what it
that's
is. Talk to
proven
me.
from all types of, Planned Parenthood. If you ask Planned Parenthood and every other person who's done a study about birth control and access to birth control and family, dynamics, that a kid who has access to these things and this information is a lot safer and a lot less likely to get themselves into trouble, if they have all that. So it's definitely something. I don't know how we got onto this, but it's
Oh,
definitely
it's okay. Yeah,
something,
I learned everything on my own. Like my mom never taught me shit. Like
we learned the hard way, I think. And I'm grateful for that because it made me a better mom. It made me know what I needed to do with my kids, but
yeah,
it also caused me a lot of trauma and harm in my own life.
trauma. Yes, I have lots of that. Also, like that's the reason why I'm going no contact with my mom because she doesn't respect boundaries. Like I don't know, my daughter just doesn't like her because my mom has a thing where she doesn't really like girls or women. Like she just gets catty. So my mom was like trying to touch my daughter's hair, said something about her hair, and then my daughter's like, maybe my daughter should have said it nicer, but whatever. My daughter was like, get the hell away from me. And my mom's like, you let your kid talk to me like that and this and that and blah blah blah. And then
Mm-mm.
my
No, because Liz, I told my kids, and I think this is huge. Like, anybody out there who's ever thinking about having kids, as a mother, this is one of the most important things I ever did, was to tell my kids from the day they were born, from infant age, if you don't want to touch somebody or you don't want somebody touching you, you don't
say it.
have to. And if they continue to touch you without your consent, you should yell at them. The kisses goodbye at a Christmas party, a
The
birthday
hugs, I
party.
hated that. Oh my god, I
Mm-mm.
fucking
And
hated that.
I had to really stand up to my family and say, I'm sorry, but no. If they say no, it's no. And I
Yeah.
watched my stepmother once, my younger kid, he's a boy, but he's transgender. So at the time we didn't know yet. He was still identifying as a girl, ponytail. And my stepmother asked for a kiss goodbye. My son said no. And my stepmother grabbed the ponytail and pulled the
Oh my
hair
gosh.
and said, that's what you get for hurting my feelings. And my kid started to cry. And I was so angry. And I just looked at her and was like, what are you doing? And, you don't get to do that. If someone
Yeah,
doesn't want to
that's
give you a kiss, I don't care about your feelings. Like,
yeah, that's
And so
it's all
those are
about
things like you
boundaries.
really have to instill from in day one, because I think one of the reasons that kids get molested and hurt and don't tell anybody is because they're taught from the beginning of their lives that they have to give a kiss or a hug, to say
Yep.
hello and goodbye, no matter what their feelings
That's what I
are.
was taught. Like I had to give everybody a hug, a kiss, even if I didn't want to. So I'm really
That's a
glad.
huge factor in their understanding of consent, I think, for the rest of their lives. Truly.
Yes, so I'm really glad my daughter just said, "Hey, get the hell away from me." And then my
Because
mom's
you
like,
taught
"Whoa."
her correctly.
Yeah. And then my mom's calling her a brat for it, and I haven't spoke to my mom in like I don't know how long it's been, but yeah.
I would have done the same thing. I'm no contact with my mom at this point. I
Is it
basically
hard?
it's not hard because she really hurt me. Like,
Same with mine.
she's going through a lawsuit. She got into a horrible car accident a couple years ago, going through a lawsuit, and our plan was, when she finally got her settlement, we were going to get a place together because it's so hard for me to, with my kid going in and out of the hospital. I have 2 kids. So when one goes into the hospital, what do I do with the other one?
Yeah.
And also because she's getting older and she really shouldn't be on her own. And I hadn't seen her for a couple of weeks. And when I saw her, she told me she changed her mind and she wants to live by herself. And I got really upset and was like, how could you do that? Like, this was our plan and
Yeah.
I need
Sounds like
help.
my
And
mom.
she offered to give me money. And I was like, it's not a money. Like, I need a person, there with me. And I can't do this by myself. And she just, I don't
So
know. She's always been very selfish. She's always been a really selfish person. And she's always done this I want to live alone thing. And
that's
her
my mom
mother,
too.
her mother did it. And her mother was found unconscious on the floor after about 4 days of lying on the floor. She was on the floor of her apartment, had soiled
Oh,
herself for 4 days. And even when the police showed up there for a well check, she didn't want to let them in. She was telling them to go away. And she would have died on that floor. And her house was basically like a hoarder house, just garbage everywhere. She wasn't able to take care of herself. And she was
mhm.
like that because she always insisted on living alone. And my mother's doing the same thing. And I'm like, I can't watch you do this.
Yeah.
And I won't have my kids either. My kids believed her when she said that we were all going to get a place together and everything was going to be okay. And now I have to tell them,
Oh yeah.
you know,
That's like my mom. Their birthdays are coming up, and she kept, she was saying, and she tried to plan it. Like she was like, "I'm taking you guys to a hotel. I'm paying for it. It's a water park hotel." And the kids knew about it and everything. And then she texted me. She said, "Because of your daughter's brattiness, I decided I don't want to do it anymore."
oh
So,
my God, that's horrible. Oh yeah,
so
I would never
for the
talk to her. I'd be
birthdays,
like, that's it.
and I'm
That's
like, you know
it.
what? I don't need you. I figure shit out always for the birthdays. They're gonna get their presents. They're gonna get everything that they want. It may not be a water park hotel, but I'll do a little party at home. It's
You know what
fine.
I
I don't
did
need
once,
you.
Liz? One time, my kids were, before my husband went to prison, he used to have visitation rights and he would not show up for his visitation. And there was one day, I was working nights at the time. So it was 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And I was at work and I found out that my youngest had been all day, the entire day, with his Hello Kitty backpack ready to go, sitting on the front porch waiting for his father, and his father didn't show up.
Mm.
And I was so upset by that, and I was like, I don't want him to have this memory of doing this. So as soon as I got out of work, I picked up the kids and I drove them the 3 hours from my house to Sesame Place, and we went to
Oh,
Sesame
I've been to
Place.
Sesame Place.
And I'm going to tell you now, I was high all day. So I was high all fucking day at Sesame Place, but I was the only person at Sesame Place not cursing at their kids. And
Yeah, Sesame Place is shit. I miss
I
Sesame
was
Place.
exhausted. So I was on cocaine and marijuana the whole time. But I took them to Sesame Place. They forgot about that shit. And they don't
You had
have
a
to
good
have the
time.
memory now is when we went to Sesame Place, not when their dad didn't show up. And that's the type of shit I've had to do for damage control with my family since my kids
Yes.
were born.
So I'm
And
just like, yeah, we're
so
gonna
yeah,
do
cutting
something
off all
different.
contact is, it's hard to do it with the dad. And I didn't ever tell my kids that they shouldn't talk to their dad, but they eventually decided on their own, you know, that they don't trust him or know him or want anything to do with him because he didn't put the effort in. And I feel sorry for him, but that's his doing, not mine. Because I
Yeah.
never said don't speak to him. But I will say that when it comes to my aunts and my cousins and my brother and my mom who have shown themselves not to know how to act like a family or not to understand community, which is a very important word to me.
Community, yeah.
Why am I having to ask for help on Twitter when I have
When I have
family who has
family,
money?
yeah,
Because they won't help us. And that
I
to
get
me
you.
is
Yep.
an automatic. I don't want you influencing my kids' life in any way. I don't want my kids to
So,
think that this is how things work. So they still talk to my Twitter friends who help us, but they don't talk to my mother. for that
So like
reason.
for oh, the cat's making an appearance. So for like my mom's situation, Gizmo, the hell. um, so for my mom's thing, like you know what? I'm sorry, Mom. Not sorry. I told my kids. I told my kids what was up. I said, "This is, I know you were, I sat them down early, then telling them like, closer to the birthdays. I said it a month ago. I'm like, you guys, I need to sit down and tell you this is what happened. Your grandma, she canceled the birthday trip, and they said why. I said, do you want to know the truth? I said, fuck, I'm gonna tell you the truth. And she's like, because she called you a brat and this and that. Other people will get pissed that I did that, but I want my kids to know that this is what their
No, you
grandmother
should
did.
tell them the truth, and you should
Yeah,
tell them
and they can decide for
exactly what you
themselves.
think about it. Because
Yeah,
people who don't have kids, Liz, will tell you that your 8-year-old or your 6-year-old can't understand. They 100% understand, and they will understand why you chose to do what you did. So I think, and I always have been honest with my kids about that from day one, and I have never seen them not understand. And I think at this point in their lives, being 10 and 13, they understand how to treat people a lot better than my family ever did, because I was always open and honest about like, this is okay and that's not okay, and telling them the
yeah.
truth about what really happened.
Yeah, I talk to
I
them,
think you
the people
should.
that, yeah, I talk to them, the people that are there for them, and I talk to them about the people that are not, and I
But I
like, I
think you
let them
should tell
know.
your kids, and I can't tell you what to tell your kids. Like those are your kids. But if it was me, I would tell them, yes, my mother said you're a brat, this is that, but this is why she thinks that way, and
Oh yeah, I explained
it's
it.
not
Yeah.
you. This is her problem.
No,
She
yeah, I
needs
explained all
therapy.
that.
You're fine.
Oh
Like,
yeah, no, I said you guys are good, and then and then my son was like blaming his sister. I was like, wait, no, you need to blame your grandmother for her
yeah,
actions. He was like,
no,
yeah,
it's
that's
not
true. And then
exactly.
my daughter, she's just so funny. I'm sorry, and she's like, mom. I'm like, yeah. She's like, your mom's a bitch. And then she's like, can I just have a Halloween party? I'm just like, okay. And so
Yep,
she just like
yep.
randomly talked about something else.
There's nothing wrong with that, and I know like there's a ton of people who will come and tell moms like me and you that. How old is your daughter?
She's gonna be 6. She's 5 and a half.
So a 6-year-old shouldn't say your mother's a bitch, right?
Yeah.
But your mother is a bitch.
Yeah. So why can't
And
the 6-year-old say
your
it? Yeah.
6-year-old should know that. And it's amazing that your 6-year-old knows that, because here we are, grown women, looking at our mothers going, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah, and
Like,
still, and I give her chance after chance after chance after chance, thinking
no,
that
I don't want my kids giving people chances like that. I want them to look at that person and go, that person's a bitch. And know that. I don't care how old they are. Like that is what they should be
yeah,
saying.
because some people like they tend to not tell their children about how their family really is. No, I'm gonna tell you how the family really is. Like my family in New Jersey, they only basically want to see you if you're dead in a funeral or if you're getting married. Like they only want to visit. They only
You
like,
don't know how close
yeah.
home that statement hit, because for me, when my son first got sick, and this was a healthy child, right? He went 7 years without having a single problem, and all of a sudden goes into heart failure. He's dying. He's on life support. And I have 30 aunts and uncles and cousins on my mother's side, and not one of those people even sent a text message or a Facebook comment or anything to say, are you okay? Is he
Hmm.
okay? I didn't hear from them. And that was a huge, huge line for me. So when you say they only want to see you if you're dead, I
Hmm.
mean, they would have been at a funeral.
Oh yeah.
Um, and he almost had a funeral. Like,
Mhm.
that was so close to happening, I can't even describe it. And I'm like, I looked at those people and was like, I don't want you there. You're not going to be there. Like, that's not.
They're
Mm-mm.
fake. Yeah.
And
'Cause they're-
so I've taught my kids since then that family is the people closest to you, not your blood relatives, the people who are there for you. Because there were people who were just my Facebook friends or just my Twitter friends, or people I went to kindergarten with or worked with in 2003 who,
Yeah.
15 years later are showing up at the hospital with care packages. That, those people are out there. They just weren't blood relatives. So
Oh yeah.
what family was got switched up 100% that day, those days. And those people are still close to me. The people who are there, I will keep them close for the rest of my life. And that is our family. So
Hmm.
whether or not they're blood relatives, it's like,
Yeah, it
no,
doesn't
it's the
matter.
people who were there when the shit hit the fan. Those are your
Mhm.
family.
That is true. That is really
So
true.
when you brought up the funeral thing, it like struck a nerve because it's
I'm
like
sorry.
something I said to my mom was, when I bury this child, you won't be there, because it's like he has nonstop health problems and he's going to continue having them. This is just not, he's never gone a year without a long hospital stay. It's going to continue that way. And I've been advised multiple times to take out life insurance policies and everything like that, because this kid, he could live a long life, but it's just so far no. And I'm like, what, you're doing this like I want to live by myself. I don't care about anybody's shit. And you haven't even asked me if he's okay after he had an angiogram, and she hadn't asked me if he was okay before she was saying all this to me. So it's like you haven't asked if this kid's going to live another year,
Yeah.
but you've already said that you're not going to live with him.
Yeah,
Fuck
that's
off.
fucked up.
you know Meanwhile, you've done more for him, Liz, yourself. Literally, you have
Oh.
done more for him.
Is there anything more? Is there anything else that we can do? Like
Right now, we're
anything?
okay. Right now, and I said this to Andre. Andre, you're so quiet. I said this to you a couple weeks ago, but you sent me something anyway. But I was like, right now we're fine. We just got food stamps, so like we're living in piles of food. So that as long as we have that,
Awesome.
he goes, right now we have appointments in September to go in and have tests done. And like, it's like we could go in and have those tests done and find out something's horribly wrong, and then he's in the hospital for another year, or we could go in and nothing's wrong. Like, it's
Hope
really
everything's
hard to
good.
know what's coming up on the horizon with him. But right now, everything's fine. Right now, you have done everything you could for us, and we're that's always going to mean something to me and be
Oh no,
something to appreciate.
if you ever need me to boost or anything, just message me or in the group chat.
I
I'm
already
here
know
for you.
that. And I have to say, while I'm live on here with you, that there has never been a time that I sent you a post and you did not retweet and, do everything
Anything
you
I could
could to
do.
try to get engagement. You've been amazing with that. And that's even considering times where you and I were not getting along as well.
Yeah. No,
Where
I'm
there
always
was
here for my
turmoil.
comrades.
You and me have never directly had an issue, but there's been turmoil around us that has
Yeah,
made us,
yeah.
but
The Twitter
still,
dramas. We're
I've
good.
never reached out to you and had you not, and I think that's commendable on your part. Like, no matter what happened between the two of us or around us, that you have always been, very caring when it came to our needs and support and
Yeah,
everything like that. And I'll never
that's just.
forget that.
Oh, you're good. You're good. That's just what camaraderie is all about. Like, I had a comrade message me. Um, he said something. I guess out of desperation, like he thought I was ignoring him. That he said some not mean things, but he just said some things. And then he messaged me again. He was like, "Look, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm just in desperation." I'm like, "Oh, I wasn't even ignoring you. I literally sometimes don't check my messages." So like he was like, I retweeted his stuff and he was like, "Oh my god, I'm so thankful." He's like, "Usually people, if I'm like mean or aggressive to them, they'll just block me." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, I mean, you need help." He needed help with his kids. He's going through something. I'm like, I'm just gonna retweet it. Like, shit happens. It's
Nope.
nothing
I'm here to
personal.
say live on Tea Time that you have never left me on red.
Yeah.
Anytime I've sent you something, it's been retweeted and quote tweeted, and
Anything I could do to help the comrades, like I may not be smart or have like a big job or whatever, but
come
at
on.
least I
Who
have a
says
big
you're not smart? Like, that doesn't. The fact
Me.
that you do what you do for a living doesn't mean that you're not. I mean, I'm doing Amazon Flex deliveries. If I had the means, I could have done something, been a doctor. Like, I know so much about the medical field. Like, you've seen me, I could do those things, but that's just not how the circumstances played out in our
Yeah,
lives. It doesn't mean we're stupid.
all I wanted to be was a mom. So that's what
I
I know
relate to
what I
that
can do.
because I know one of my best friends for my whole life is like a few feet away from me, and I know he would say he's heard me say the same thing, that was all I wanted. I didn't go to college. I was like, I just want to be a mom. And then I became a mom and I was like, this is not enough. Like,
Yeah.
after I had my kids, I was
In the
like, I don't know,
society.
it's not good. But, at this point, with everything that goes on with my son, like, people are like, oh, you're never too young to go back to school. Like, I can't do it.
I
I
don't
can
want
barely
to.
hold my life together with what goes on with
Same.
my kids. So, like, you know, I'll get a new job. I could start a new job tomorrow. And then 6 months from now, he gets sick and he goes into the hospital for 3 months and boom, that's it. There's no job.
Yeah.
So that happens all the time. Like, if I went back to school, that could happen easily. It's like, yeah, there's a ton of shit I could do, but it's just not, I really can't do it.
Yeah, no, me too. That's why, like, okay, I have like a decent platform, so I try to use it for good. That's what I do.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
try to
I
be
feel good about that too. Like, I feel, especially a couple of years ago, I used to do more hosting spaces where we would read theory and
Oh
talk
yeah, I
about
remember
theory,
that.
helping people to, read these things and understand them. Um, that feels like my role, and I'd rather do that for free. you know.
Yeah, same. I just want to spread truth. I want to. That's why our network is a voice for the voiceless. Like I want to give people a voice, a platform, because I've been there before where I didn't have many followers or I didn't have like a platform and speaking into the void, and I was uh, granted that access. So I want everyone to have a voice. I
I
want
think
everyone.
there's some people in the world, and me and you are two of them, who our aspiration is not to be rich, and it never has been. And it's
No,
like, if I won the lottery tomorrow, I would give the money away so fast.
that would
And
help so many people.
yeah, I would just start helping.
All I need is a house and a car. It doesn't even have to be like this. Just the same year car, and that's it. In a nice, a decent house,
Yeah,
and
I'd probably fix my car and pay my rent a few months in advance and then just start giving the money away, because it's not
I'll start a mutual aid
something.
thing.
I don't want to have $1 million. I would rather have a million people whose lives were better because of me. Like, that's,
And lives
you
will
know,
change. Yeah,
um, and I think that, as we were talking about these things about infiltrators and people not wanting to share mutual aid, I think that people don't believe that there's people like me and you out there. I think when we tell people that we wouldn't keep that money, they don't believe us. But,
yeah,
the more that we show ourselves,
and
you
yeah,
know, and make that effort, the more that they have to believe. Like,
exactly. That's why sometimes people can't fathom that. Like I'm a real person on Twitter. Like I try to really keep it real on this app. What I say is truth. Like what I'm tweeting is what literally is happening. I don't really hide myself. My face is hidden today because I just don't feel good. But
no,
like
but I
for the
can vouch for that. I've known you for a while, and I'm here to vouch for Liz. She
I've
is
been like
who
emotional
she
and
says
not
she
feeling
is.
good, so my face is all puffy and shit. But
I've
um,
seen you be I've seen you be emotional. I've seen you be frantic.
oh yeah,
I
that's
have.
me.
I have seen you, raw on Twitter, and
Yeah, I'm
like,
pretty raw on Twitter. Really, that's because what you see is what you get.
the only thing I can say is, at your most raw, at your most irrational, unhinged behavior, you are still looking out for people and caring for people. So that's, I know you. I've known you long enough to know the stuff you worry about, and I'm like, Liz, you're okay. Like, you're okay.
Thank you. I try to keep it real. I just want people to know that this is a real account and I really care. Um,
And anybody telling you
yeah.
you're not a good mother, like, I just want to punch them. Like, I
Oh, me
don't,
too.
I'm so angry at that because honestly, even from this conversation, I can tell, you're doing the right thing by your kids. But
I try. I'm not
before that,
perfect.
it's like, I know you to be someone who genuinely cares about your kids, loves your kids. Like, that's your main thought. You're
Yeah, I love
100%
my kids.
focused.
Like there's times I yell or whatever, but like if it's if I yell or something like later on I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Like I know I'm never my mom because my mom never like took accountability or apologized or whatever.
Mm-mm.
Like I'm not
Earlier
per.
today, my roommate and I were talking about ADHD, and my child chimed in, and he said, "How do you even know what it is?" And my son said, "Because my mother has it." Like, yeah, we've talked about this stuff. Like, they are fully aware of who I am, what my symptoms are, like, and how I work, because I communicate with them so that they don't wonder why did my mother not hear what I just said? Because I have ADHD and I'm looking at my phone. Like, that's I think it's I think it's great. I do. I'm glad you're honest with your kids. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, I try to be honest on Twitter. Like I just want people to see like I'm the people's account. I'm here to help. I'm whatever I can do, and I use Twitter as a diary, and I guess that's how I got a following. And yeah,
I'm more like, I have a little following. I talk a lot of shit and I will come for you. Like, if you do something that needs to be addressed, you'll hear from me. But other than that, I'm mostly just being funny on Twitter. So, or
yeah, I'm just
trying to
weird.
be.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, you and I have been in a few different group chats where I think problematic things have happened, like,
Yeah,
where you've seen me kind of confront somebody, and not everyone likes that. But
happens.
Andre, say something. Are you even here? He's
I'm
like,
letting y'all
what?
cook. Hey, continue. I'm letting y'all cook.
At this point, it's just me and Liz telling each other we love each other. So somebody said hello, though.
Oh, hello.
Lost Sue. Oh, hi, Lost Sue. Hi.
How are you?
Thank God someone commented.
About time.
Like I said, I'm just gonna take it as a sign that everyone watching thinks I'm 100% correct about everything if they don't comment. So if anyone wants
There's
to fight, now's your time.
Yeah, we almost have 500 viewers. That's pretty cool. This is the
That's
live,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
But yeah, like
what time do you guys stay on till?
that's right. I'm just chill and I'm just in bed.
No, I'm good. I'm just gonna have to go use the restroom.
What you got to say, Andre? We
I ain't gotta
overtook
say
tea
nothing.
time.
You know what was
It's
something that I wanted to bring up? Because the last time I came on, you guys were like, "What do you want to talk about?" Andre said, "What do you want to talk about?" And I was like, "I don't know." So this time I was like, "Okay." I knew Liz had some stuff brewing about mutual aid because Liz has been pissed all week about the way people
Oh,
act about mutual aid.
yeah, I've been fucking angry.
But what was on my mind for the last couple days was domestic violence, and it actually came from, which I said in the group chat, I had watched this documentary that's on Amazon Prime about Lorena Bobbitt.
Oh, I heard you
And
talking about a little bit that.
right, and I was so interested in watching it, and it's funny because I was old enough to know when what happened. So I remember from the news and everything that this woman cut off her husband's penis and threw it out the window of her car while she was
Ouch.
driving. But I didn't know anything else. And so I went back and watched the documentary, and watching it with fresh eyes. And I didn't even Google as I was watching it, like, what actually happened in this story. I just watched it as if I knew nothing about this case. And as I found out the details of what happened with this woman, I got more and more disturbed and upset about the fact that all I knew about her were the jokes that I saw on like the Tonight Show or something about,
Mhm.
this woman doing this. Like it turned into like a national joke. And this was in the 90s. And like, we talked a little bit last time about how brutal things were at that time. And what I did not know at the time, and I know now, is that this was before the Violence Against Women Act. And it was at the time you could call the police for a domestic violence incident and no one would be arrested. Now there are laws in place that someone's going to jail. Like there are going to be charges pressed no matter what anybody says at that incident if somebody was harmed in a domestic violence incident, which was put into place because people like her would call the police and things would calm down and the guy, would be told to go stay somewhere else for the night and then he would come back and kill her. And that was basically the situation this woman was in when she did what she did. She was being raped like over and over again by this man and beaten over, and it was her husband.
Oh fuck.
But he did it to her on this night, and she got up and got a knife and cut his dick off. And I watched this show and was like, I watched her testify and I'm like, oh my God, she had to do that. Like there was nothing else for her to do. And I get why she did it. And I don't think she did anything wrong. And I feel like these are things, I watch what comes up now. And I feel like people don't realize that this still happens, that this is still a thing, that was not the 1950s, that, even though this happened 30 years ago or 40 years ago, was it? I don't know. 30 years ago, right. That this is still a situation that people face on a daily basis. And it's something we don't talk about. And we
Oh
don't
yeah,
talk about
domestic violence.
why women don't leave those situations. And I feel like it's definitely a good watch. It's definitely interesting for someone who doesn't know the whole story to really sit and watch
Where's
how
it
this played
streaming
out.
on?
What?
Where's it streaming on?
It's on Prime.
Oh, cool. Because I only knew about how she cut his
And
dick off, but I didn't know like the
what's his
whole
name is an
story.
executive producer. Jordan Peele
Oh,
is an
cool.
executive producer. So if you're a fan of Jordan Peele, this was something he had his hand in. And
I'm gonna watch it.
it's absolutely incredible to watch this woman testify. And one of the fucking funniest parts of Me Too was towards the end. I don't want to spoil anything, but at the same time, it's something that happened. This guy is still sending letters to her asking her to come back to him
Oh my
after what
gosh.
she did. And that floored me. Like, I was like, oh my God. Like, she's still getting letters from him. And she, with her thick Ecuadorian accent, is like, I cut off his penis. Leave me alone.
Did they ever put it back together?
They did. Yeah. He has a fully functioning penis. He got it put back together. Like everything was fine. But it was just, you hear a story like that and you're like, how do you justify something like that? And then it's amazing to hear the story behind it and go, oh, that is justified.
Yeah, I never knew the story behind it. Now I'm like interested in watching
I never
it.
did
Like all
either.
you know is that
I
she
was a
gets cut
kid
off.
when this story was, I was like 11 years old when this happened. And it was
Yeah,
right before OJ.
Yeah, I just thought that she cut off his penis and that's it. I didn't
So
know like the whole
his
story.
story was that she did it because he was leaving her. And her story was that she was beaten and raped on a daily basis. And watching her testify, there is nothing in me that looks at that testimony and thinks she's making any part of it up. Not any part of it. Like it's
Yeah, I
just
think I'm gonna see it.
very compelling.
Yeah, I'm gonna see it tomorrow. There's no kids tomorrow, so I'll see it tomorrow.
And
With my free time.
I'm not even going on the believe women. Like I do believe women. I believe victims, right?
Mhm.
But not even going on that, really looking at it from a skeptical position, I watched this woman talk and was like, she's not lying. Like, this happened. And then he went on to do it to someone else and went to prison. And I didn't know that part either. And I'm like, how? This woman was never vindicated. Like, I feel like her name is synonymous with this violent act, but that man's name is not synonymous with the violence that he committed.
Yeah.
Even though he did go on to do this to more women and he did end up going to prison for it. So that's something I was bringing up, like, with domestic violence, where we still don't look at these situations and go, how do you look at that and blame the victim? I feel like it's something we still, if a woman says, I was in a marriage and my husband was beating me, well, why didn't you leave? And
Sometimes it's hard.
so there's a lot of factors there, but one of the biggest ones is that we know that the psychological impact of things like that will prevent you from leaving, and that the most dangerous thing for a woman to do is leave. 9 times out of 10, when a woman does get killed in that situation, it's because she left.
No,
So
yeah, that's 100%.
that actually is a real danger. I don't think that people realize that, like, leaving an abusive partner is actually extremely dangerous, and the most dangerous time is that time when you leave. That is when you're most likely to get killed. So I feel like that's something that needs to be brought up more. Even though I think there were time periods in our lives where it was brought up a lot, I think it still is something I've had people say to me that doesn't happen anymore.
No, there's also psychological abuse too. Like, that shit happens too, and it's hard for people to get out. So that stuff like that is still happening.
I think something we don't talk about is financial abuse. I think, people understand psychological abuse to a point, but what they don't know is financial abuse, which is where you get into a relationship or a marriage, and especially as a woman, if you've had kids and you're home, you're taking care of the kids, you have no income, you haven't worked for maybe 2 years, 3 years, and your partner provides everything,
Oh,
and they don't
sucks.
allow you to have access to the money.
Fuck that shit. That's
Yeah.
my money too.
No, I went through that though in my marriage, where if I said we needed toilet paper, he would drive me to the store and walk up to the register and pay for the toilet paper. He would not give me the money.
Oh, damn.
And it got to a point where we were in
That's my money
therapy, and
too.
our therapist told him this was financial abuse, and he was, no, I work and she doesn't, so it's my money. And that prevented me from leaving for a long time, because I just didn't have the means.
For me, like, I like to share money in a relationship. Like, it's all about trust.
I don't personally, if we're living together, everything is ours. So,
Yeah.
but I feel a lot more comfortable after everything I've been through, having my own income, and, even if my partner doesn't work, that I'll be the one who works and let them have access to all the money, but know that they can't keep me from it
Oh,
because
yeah.
of my experience.
Yeah.
But, you don't know that when you're 26 years old and you get married and you trust your partner and have kids together. You don't know until it's too late. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to run to the bathroom.
Andre, you there? I was gonna say, I wish I could stay longer, but I have to
It's
go.
okay. If you want to cut it off here, it's fine.
Oh, no.
Either way,
No, good. No, I'm
want,
saying,
but I gotta go.
usually Tuesday nights I could stay up, but I have to work tomorrow. I work at like 4 a.m.
Ugh,
That's why.
terrible.
I know, it sucks. I work at 4 a.m. to 1 p.m. tomorrow. Well, that's usually that's my shift. So I usually go to bed soon. But I could talk for a long time, but I'm just like, no, I have to go to bed.
That's okay. That's okay.
But it was fun talking to you, and you are welcome as a guest anytime. Literally, we have another open slot because nobody wants to be on tea time.
No, I don't think that's true. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm around anytime you guys want, you know. I love doing this with you guys. I think you're great.
And you're awesome too. No,
You
yeah.
great too.
Yeah, so anytime we need like not I'm not saying like a fill-in, but no, like I'm just saying anytime you want to talk on tea time
You can
cuz
always hit me up. I'm always around, and you know, I love you guys and I have a great time. So,
yay, that sounds good. Yeah, we'll be doing that.
Oh yeah.
And it's
Oh
always on
yeah.
Mondays, 6 p.m. So, and we will also talk about the mutual aid, the live stream.
yes.
We gotta work on that. And
I would love to
yeah,
cross promote that in the group that I'm in. So, definitely let's get some information beforehand so I can, you know, try to get
Okay.
people involved from my end.
yeah, that
Um,
sounds good. Yeah, so we can you can put that information in our regular group chat, or do you want to make a Andre a special group chat for that or what?
um,
I can make a
yeah,
yeah.
do
I
the
can make a
special group
special one.
chat because sometimes I miss stuff in
Yeah.
the big group chat. A lot of
Okay,
people in
cool.
there.
Okay.
Sounds good. And let's see. If we don't have anybody else, you can always come again. Like it's just, I like the vibe,
I
so this
will.
is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it'll be live, so we'll have like people just staring at us. 481. um, it was awesome. I had a good laugh, and I loved our serious topics, and everything was pretty cool.
Yes.
I'll be better by next week. But yeah, no. Next week, yeah. If you want to be on it next week, just let us know.
Yeah, sure.
We can do. I'll be better. I'll have my mask off. My face won't be puffy anymore. But yeah. So it was fun, you guys. Anything you want to say, Andre? I know you've been really quiet.
I'm good.
What do you want to say closing?
Oh. Oh.
Wrap it
Oh,
up,
okay.
Andre.
All right. All right, guys. Thanks for watching Tea Time with Andre and Ty Peasant. Uh,
And a special
we
guest.
out. Yep. Provolone. Thank you for coming on again.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye.